Good morning. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. This is Miss Santiago, and I am making a screencast for Miss Asher and I. We are going to be talking about your assignment for today. So in Google Classroom, you're going to see something that says levels of the environment. Okay. There are two things you need to open from that. First is this PowerPoint. Okay, this is what you'll use to fill in this other sheet that is on here, and you can just click where it says type here and erase that and type in your notes so that you have those filled out. So let me put this in present mode and then we will start talking about it. It's going to take a second to load. Okay, so today our essential question is, how is the environment organized? Okay, so how are all the things around us organized? And down there you can see our standard, which is students will examine the dependence of organisms on one another in their environment. Okay, so the first, just like in the human body, the environment can be organized into different levels. So when we talked about the human body, we talked about how the levels. So we started out with cells, and then those cells made tissues, tissues made organs, and organs made organ systems. Those organ systems make something. Okay, those organ systems make organisms. And then those organisms are part of this environment that we're going to figure out the levels of today. Okay, so this is the graphic organizer you will be using to take your notes. So make sure you have that up. Now, the first part, organisms. So an organism is a single individual, animal, plant, or other living thing. So at the bottom of your notes page, you will write this in. Okay. Next, we have a population. So a population is a group of organisms of the same species that live in the same area. Okay? So that our picture went from one wildebeest to a whole herd or a whole population of wildebeest. Next, we have a community. A community is all the populations that live and interact with each other in a particular place. So all of these animals here are interacting with each other and they live in a very particular area. Okay, next we have an ecosystem. An ecosystem is the biotic and abiotic factors in a particular environment. Ecosystems are smaller than biomes. Okay, that's a big key there. Make sure you know that. Okay, we've talked about biotic and abiotic before. Okay, so biotic things are living and or once living, and abiotic are non-living things. Okay, we have practiced with this before, but let's just have a refresher. For ecosystem, what are some of the abiotic factors in this ecosystem? So think about it for a second. Pause the video so you can think about it. Okay, so some of the abiotic factors that we can easily identify: the sun, the water, and the soil. You also have the abiotic factor of the temperature in this environment and the abiotic factor of the air in the environment, okay? Now, some biotic factors obviously would be everything that's living. I did have someone raise the question, what about this log? This log is dead. That is true, but our definition of biotic factors are living or once living organisms. So that log is a once living thing, so it is a biotic factor. Okay, next we have an ecosystem can be as small as a swamp or as large as a forest or desert. Okay, so it just depends on where your area is and how big your ecosystem is. I have actually built an ecosystem in a bottle one time, in a 2-liter bottle. It was pretty interesting. I'll have to find some pictures and show you guys. So this part you can do on your own, but what part of this ecosystem is missing? Okay, think about it. Pause the video, see what you find. The next part, okay, we have our biomes. A biome is a region of Earth that has a particular climate and a certain type of plant. So in these biomes, there has to be very particular plants that live there, or because most other plants wouldn't be able to survive in those areas. So in biomes, they do have very particular plants in a very strict climate, okay? Think about the desert and the rainforest and how those environments are very, very, very strict to where they are. Okay, the last part, the most inclusive part, we have the biosphere. The biosphere is part of the earth and the atmosphere in which living things exist. Okay, so that is every living thing on earth is included in this biosphere. And this is just another image explaining it. I do want to pose the question to you guys. Why is it in this triangle shape? Okay, think about that. Why do we put it in a triangle shape? Okay, the answer to that question is the biosphere is the largest part of the triangle. So that means it includes more stuff. Okay, as you move down, each step includes less and less things. Okay, all the way down to the individual or organism, as we call it. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're thinking about this stuff. Okay, so on the next few slides, it's mostly for you just to look at and practice. And if you click through it, it does end up telling you the answers on the slides. So just do that so that you can figure it out. Now, one thing I did want to talk to you guys about was let's think back and bring this full circle with our past units. So the very first thing we talked about were these human body systems, okay? We had cells, and then we talked about how cells make tissues, and tissues make organs, and organs make organ systems. Okay? But those organ systems all work together to create an organism. Those organisms function together to create a population. Those populations function together to create a community. And then those communities work together to create an ecosystem, all the way up till we get to our biosphere. Okay? Now, this is just another picture explaining what I just explained to you. Same thing here. You can review it. On this, you might want to make a note on the side of your notes and identify each of the following pictures. So A, B, C, and D. You can just add that in on the side of your notes. Same with this. You can just add the answers to these on the side of your notes. It's really just for practice to get you thinking, okay? Now, this picture is most likely going to show up again, so make sure you learn how to fill it in. If you have any questions, just email us. One more thing before we go, we are doing notebook checks today. In the notebooks, we are looking, for our virtual students, we are looking to see if you completed all of the notes pages in Google Classroom, because that means that you would be keeping up with a notebook in class if you're doing that. So the things that we're going to look at are cell theory and history, 2 types of cells, organisms and their environment, classifying organisms, and the classification pyramid and scientific name, okay? So make sure you have those all filled out before we go check them, and I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. Go Black Bears.